My name's Mario. I'm an avid amateur cosplayer. I've had a couple of different costumes over the years. I've played Batman, and I've played the Metal Gear Solid series villain Big Boss. The character I want to play now is going to be another bad guy, Deathstroke, the Terminator, from DC Comics. He would be one of DC's very best hand-to-hand combatants. He has, of course, an intriguing appearance, what with the one eye, and always behind a mask. His costume for the newer game, Arkham Origins, is pretty complex. It's going to be made up of a lot of different little parts. It's a lot of fabrication and a lot of prop building. It also is going to require some pieces that come from different sources. The holster is actually a military issue. The sheath is going to have to be custom. With so much to do, I started off with what I thought was the easiest part, the Shin Guards. I'm using a material called EVA foam. If it looks familiar, it should. This is what usually makes up the floors of gymnasiums. I start off by sketching it with a pencil and then by drawing in the details with a marker. Periodically, I tried it out on my body just to make sure it was going to fit. I'm not as tall as Deathstroke. This item here is going to be a Dremel table saw. It helps me to make precise cuts, courtesy of my friend Shane. I've learned the hot glue is hot. I burned myself many times. Shortcuts are okay. Those really are just regular foam knee pads with a little covering over them. I had to draw in a little detail by hand to make sure I knew where things would fit in the end. These are my hip armor. These were pretty tough. I have kind of an unusual shape. The chess piece. This is my second most dreaded part of it. Whole lot of math and a whole lot of rules of fractions went into this thing. It was very interesting to cut. I had to cut it into smaller pieces to build up a layered effect. I think I might have made it a little short, but it ended up being okay with the belt and with the collar. That's the blast collar. The back was really tough. It's hard to translate a two-dimensional plane to a three-dimensional image sometimes. This one was tricky and required a lot of guesswork on mine. I found a Batman symbol I cut out of my cloth from an earlier project. I stuck the front and back together, and now they're all one piece. The shin pads are coming together. It had a top strap and a bottom strap. Until the minute I did this project that same evening, I did not know how I was going to make and cover the backs. The arm pieces were so tough, I had the hardest time scaling them to make sure that they would fit. I had to do a lot of cloth work because the backing of a lot of things, the base of a lot of things, is actually made of cloth covered by foam so it could be spray painted. The swords took forever to put together. They were so hard. The swords were actually made from 2x4s, carefully cut and sanded into shape. Later on, I covered parts of the armor with the thinner foam in order to cover up some of the creases and to create some of the more layered parts from the armor, especially in the abdominal area around the neck. Between me and you, it also covered up a lot of imperfections. I had to take measurements of my own head in order to make a new mask. The word versions comes up a lot. I had to make lots of versions of this particular helmet before it became the right shape. Versions means no plan. The mask wore me out. Time was running low. Late in the project, very late in the project, I was working on the bow staff and the shotgun shells. I worked on the gloves. I loved making the gloves. It was one of the only items I've ever just breezed through in this whole project where they worked immediately. It took a while to build up all the coats of blue, but I liked it. It was brighter than what I thought I was going to go with. There was hand painting that was still needed, especially on the gloves and shotgun. Way at the end of this project, I ended up building the sheath. It was something I was so scared to put together, but it turns out It was great. It was one of the best parts of the costume. I find out orange is a really rough color to paint with. You have to put coat after coat. I made a little bit of a mistake at this stage of the project I should probably talk about. Deathstroke's helmet features prominently an orange left side and a blue or black right side. I did this costume backwards. I found it out way too late to be able to go back and fix it. I added a lot of detail. I filled in a lot of these, added a lot of what we call lowlights and things. And then I had to leave everything outside long enough to be able to dry and get some of the spray paint smell off before the day began. This little bit of footage actually happens the day before.